What's up, peeps? It's time for another rant. Although I'm not going to rant. Not today. I don't really have a rant. I could probably find a rant. I might fall into a rant. We'll see. Um, I got a couple of texts today. Thank you to the one of you who did exactly what I asked. Make it one sentence, be really direct. Don't set me up for a 10-hour conversation. Um, I do love to talk about this stuff, and I love to help people understand who are genuinely interested in understanding. So I will make time to do that as long as you are highly aware and respectful of the time and energy it takes me to answer. I never said that kind of thing in the past because I love doing it so much, and I would do it at the expense of my own well-being. I have been learning the hard way as I continue to deal with the aftermath of this virus. I am continuing with the cough drops, as you know. At any rate, I can't do it when I'm healthy anymore because I am starting to do what I came in this lifetime to do. And that takes a lot of energy already. So that's why I'm making these videos now, is because I can just direct people to them. Hopefully you'll listen along uh, as I make them, because, sorry, this hair is going to drive me crazy. Because as we go through things, it seems most logical. It seems logical to, that's going to drive me crazy too. It seems most logical to deal with situations as they're happening, right? And y'all know I like astrology because it explains the atmosphere of energy that we find ourselves in. And humans are still primarily unconscious of how this shit works. So it's helpful in the moment to talk about what's actually going on. And I don't know, I would find it helpful to listen to somebody's perspective who thinks they have a clue. I don't proclaim to be right. It's my perspective. It's for the moment what I know is most true for me. And maybe you know how it is. We all listen to people on YouTube. We're listening because we're trying to gain a new perspective or a greater perspective of how to install stairs, how to install a dryer in the basement. That's gaining a greater perspective. Okay, so I want to talk about these things as they unfold, as they happen. I will do that in video format going forward so that I don't have to tax myself explaining it 10 times a day to 10 different people. Okay, so a couple things happened today. I was wondering who was going to prompt me to rant. That's going to be the deal going forwards. Every day somebody's going to prompt me to rant because I don't always have it obvious to me. The question was from someone after listening to yesterday's video. I won't repeat the question. I'm going to paraphrase for you. Because the actual question was said in a somewhat, what's the word? Well, it had a bent to it. We'll just put it that way. The basic question was, so essentially, the population is angry because of this astrological, because of the planets in the sky, and not because of events happening at the human level. And I'm like, well, it's way more complex than that. But essentially, yes. Okay. And then there was another situation. The one I'm actually going to talk about first. Friend of mine, I texted because I know she's having trouble with something. Not entirely sure what. She's not one to give a lot of details. You know who you are. Uh, but she's like, cue up a prayer for me and I'll fill you in later. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I got this. I know how to do this. And I'm not talking, when we use the word prayer, again, you know how I am with language. It irritates me because, well, if you know me, you know me. Language gets in my way. I have all these ginormous impressions all the time, and I cannot get them. You cannot get impressions that are this huge through your puny ass human brain and out your mouth using rational language. And English is one of the worst. Um, yeah, language gets in my way. Anyway, now that I've lost my train of thought again, she she's asking for this prayer. Okay, don't get hooked on the word prayer. I'm not a religious person in the sense that religious people would mean that. I My perspective is that I understand the roots of religions. I work with the root. What the humans who created the religions, what they decided to inject, especially modern people, the way that they have twisted things. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That kind of shit. No, not referring to that. When I talk about prayer, I'm talking about queuing up the forces of the universe. If you caught my private video the other day and my video yesterday, I'm talking about the core frequency of creation. The word we use for it is love, not romantic love. It's a frequency that we call love. Pardon me. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my train of thought uh, endlessly today. Yeah, prayer. Okay. So you need to tell me if I lose my train of thought again, you have to tell me, okay? Find a way to do it. Pardon me. Okay. So she says, cue up a prayer. I'll tell you later. I'm like, I got this. You have called on the right person because damn it, I know how to do a prayer. Not the prayer, not the shit that doesn't work, not these people who are like, oh my God, an authority outside of myself has to save me. No, not that kind of prayer. I aligned with the core frequency of the universe. It's called love. I got in the zone and I said, listen up, all of you who are in this channel, who have come out of consciousness from this channel, which is all of us, all of you sitting in the core of love and emanating that out into the universe. I need your help. My friend needs your help. I don't know what the fuck her problem is, but she has asked me to call upon you for your help. So that's what I did. I called upon them in a very specific way. Now, this is what I really wanted to tell you how to do this. If you're having trouble in your life for any reason, or trouble with other people for some reason, there's this thing you can do. I call it setting the field because that's what the friend who taught me this calls it. Setting the field. There is a field. We exist in a field of energy. Sometimes I refer to it as our atmosphere, energetic atmosphere. There are two fields present on the earth right now, the old field and the new field. You hear people refer to this as the new earth sometimes, but in a scientific manner of speaking, there are two separate fields of frequency. I don't know how you would measure them. They are dimensional. One is much higher dimensional than the other. Okay, we're not going to go down that tangent, but you can set this field for yourself. We should do this every single day. I don't. And the truth is, I rarely do it. That should probably change. I rarely do it. But when someone calls on me and says, say a prayer, I'm like, I know exactly what to do. I'm going to set the field and I'm going to call in the big guns who exist in the core frequency of the universe. These are big, big souls like Jesus, Sananda, Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, all the archangels, Sanat Kumara, Buddha, blah, 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 blah. All those people, all those high level ones, they all, they are the ones in alignment with the core frequency that created everything. That's what they came. That's when they come to the planet, that's what they come to teach us. Unfortunately, what survives from their teachings is just this kind of fluffy idea of, oh, all you need is love, right? It gets into our music and our poetry, and oh, it's such a nice thought, but it's not reality. You sit there and you're like, oh, it's not reality. Oh, it's reality. You just don't get it. You don't get how it works. You think it's a lovely idea. That's impractical. It's not. This is how it works. So to set the field, you call upon all of consciousness that's rooted in the core frequency that created all of this. And you say, you ask this field to clear. And then you acknowledge all those that exist in this field who have, for eons, been guiding humanity, teaching humanity, bringing this message to humanity. You call upon them to help all those in a particular situation to operate, to act, to think, and to feel in alignment with this core frequency. You are very intentionally sending a message out to those who have the capacity to help you. I mean, essentially, that's what a prayer is supposed to be. Please come and help. But it's not about asking for something specific. That's not what setting the field is. There's a difference between setting the table for dinner and demanding what is for dinner. Just set the table and know that the food that's coming is going to be fantastic. Just set the table. Because if you don't set the table in the first place, you can't eat the food. You can't get something. Do you know what I mean? This is a good analogy for setting the field. You have to set the field to set yourself up the most optimal way to receive the most optimal help. Okay? So I have it written down because I don't do it enough to have it memorized. I know the basic chunks. And I'm gonna give you the basic overview that my friend taught me and that I use. Now you can find your own way to do this. There's a myriad of ways to set the field. I'll just give you this example. And you can find language or yeah, basically language. You can assemble it any way you want and call in who you want and blah blah blah. Okay. It's whatever works for you. The bottom line isn't what is said, it's how deeply you feel what you're saying in that moment and how deeply, almost passionately, you believe that all those in alignment with the core frequency that created creation are going to participate in this solution with you. All right. So this is going to put a bit of blue on my glasses for the short term. No worries. Just ignore it. All right. So the first thing I do, I imagine a violet color streaming down, just kind of like showering over me. And violet, it's not purple, it's not red, it's a reddish purple. Now, some of you who used crayons when you were a kid, or maybe you still do, you remember blue violet. Blue violet is a very blue purple. That's not what you want. The color I'm thinking of is a very purpley, it's a red purple. Yeah, that's the best I can give you with words. But what you want to do is imagine that light showering you, just showering you. Do it for a minute. Imagine that, visualize it, that you're just taking a shower of this violet frequency. That is a very powerful way to clear your energetic field. It is like fingernails on a chalkboard to any form of energy that you don't want around you. After you do that, you want to use an electric blue, like the color of a gas flame. Shower yourself in electric blue. That clears your mental energy. It should help clear thoughts if your mind is wrapped up in a lot of mental energy. And then my friend taught me to spin golden white light counterclockwise around yourself. This golden white light will pick up any of the stuff that you're clearing, and it will clear your energetic field. Okay, so do that first. And then what you're going to do, the first thing you're going to do is just invite the field to clear. Hey, field, I invite you to clear on all levels. And those levels are mental, emotional, astral, energetic, spiritual, this kind of thing. Okay. If you don't want to remember them all, just say, please clear on all levels, even those I'm not aware of, something to that effect. But the intention there, feel it, that you want help clearing the field. And then the first chunk you want to do is acknowledge. You want to acknowledge every form of consciousness that operates from this core frequency of love. Okay. You're going to acknowledge universal love, light, wisdom, infinite intelligence, great spirit, all of the nurturing love that's within all of life. Earth Mother, I always include in that list. And these things, these are directly from my friend. I'll talk about her at the end of this. She always goes on to say the living field of love surrounds us, it enfolds us, and it informs us. It creates a space in which we can open to receive with trust. Everything we need is present. Now she's doing that to acknowledge the fact that this field exists and that it is designed to work with us, to enfold us, and to inform us. right? A lot of times we don't open that feminine part of ourselves. Well, first of all, we've been taught not to, but we won't do it because you have to open yourself up to tune into this field, to become a part of it, to work with it. And we've been taught not to trust that. Okay. The next thing is you want to acknowledge yourself, your conscious mind, and ask your conscious mind to remain open and receptive. Your mind is constantly going, well, that doesn't add up. Well, I don't have any experience with that. We shouldn't do that. You got to ask your mind to relax, to be open and receptive, to receive what the consciousness in this core channel of love is willing to share. If the mind is like, I don't believe in this shit, well, how is this going to work? You have to be open and receptive to this. And your mind is the first thing to get out of the way. That's a whole other tangent we talk about. All right, the next chunk. Now you want to acknowledge all of those great beings of love, light, who are constantly wanting to help. They are there on call to help us. So we acknowledge all of these who serve our souls with love and light. They would be our guides. They'd be master beings who don't really like to be called master beings. They're the ascended ones. I call them the fabulous beings. They know that. Any teachers, angels, archangels, Earth Mother, and any other loving others, our ancestry that might be with us, joining us in order to share what they have to share. She's got a statement in here. We're grateful for your love and support and assistance. We also acknowledge the wisdom of our own souls, bodies, greater spirits, and all levels and dimensions of who we are. So this chunk is about acknowledging all aspects of consciousness that could potentially come to assist. Okay. Then the last part of setting the field is to basically state your intention. What's the problem you're trying to solve? And what is your intended? What's the request? What do you need help with? Now you got to be careful here. Like any prayer, you can't just go demanding, I want this because I'm justified or whatever. Most of the time, we are not aware that we are acting from fear, requesting from fear. You're not going to get what you want if you're requesting from fear. I don't know how to explain this other than the best way. If you don't know what I mean, the best way to approach this last section here, where you state your intention, is that you should ask for the best outcome for the situation and all those involved, and then release your expectations. You can't, you're not going to be happy if you go into something like this with the expectation that I win, that I get what I want, that I get this, and that other person doesn't get what they want or need. When you set the field, this is a field of this core frequency of love. So imagine if you go in there from outside of that core frequency of love. You're standing out here in hatred. I hate those people. I hate that I have to work with them. Please, field of love, make these people see that I'm right. That is not going to work here, folks. That is not what we're doing here. Literally, what the friend who taught me this, what she sort of says is, we ask for whatever our souls would like to bring to light at this time, and then any particular clarity around this situation or this this desire, really this intention. And then if anything needs to open or shift with regard to this intention, we ask that it does so. In other words, bring me greater perspective to understand why there's so much strife in this scenario, why I'm having this problem communicating with this person, right? I ask, this is a great strategy too. Ask to work with your higher self. Ask your higher self to work with these other people's higher selves. Humans, we don't have the luxury of, we're not privy to all the information ever. That's the point of being in this virtual reality. We're not supposed to. We're supposed to feel our way through this. Well, think and feel, but you feel first and you let your feelings inform your mind, which then finds a strategic way to employ a solution. The problem is we're too often bound in some kind of a fear response for whatever reason, mostly because of unhealed trauma, blah, blah, blah. You all know this. And so we are unconsciously motivated to act out of fear and to do things that to express in a somewhat unproductive way, we'll just say. So when you set the field, you have to be conscious of this. You have to be willing, first of all, to ask for the best outcome for all involved. If you can't do that, there's no, I want to say there's no point in doing this. You should still do it. You should still do it because it's a step forward in the right direction. But I understand this is going to be hard to ask for the best outcome for all involved, especially if you have strong emotions about these other people you're involved with. Trust that you're one of those people and that that outcome is the best for you. It might not be apparent right away. Trust that it is. Okay. This is a very powerful exercise, you guys. Get used to doing this. Warm up to this because the more you do this, the more your life is going to change in the ways that you really truly want. So ask for the best for all involved as your intention. And then ask if anything needs to open or shift with regard to this within yourself. Does my perspective need to expand? Give me the perspective. Give me the information. Let me know on some level what I'm missing. Give me a tool. Send me someone. Give me a sign that will help me understand what I'm missing here about why this situation is full of strife, right? Ultimately, context, perspective fixes everything. If you can see at a high enough level, you can see things in a very unconditional, compassionate way. All right. If there's anything else that your soul wants to bring to light or that's next in your path, all of these scenarios are always a part of your path for a reason. But if there's something that can be added here to unfold, or if there's anything else that your soul wants to share at this time, bring to light on your behalf, ask to be open, receptive, ready to receive that. Okay. So that's the gist of it. That's how I set the field. And again, I learned this from a friend of mine who essentially dedicated her life to bring this kind of wisdom to people. She was a teacher and channel, a tremendous spirit. She's retired now. Her name is Michelle Mayama. She lives up here near me. but she used that. She set the field before any personal work she ever did with individuals and before any kind of group session that she facilitated. Uh, and I can tell you from experience, I worked with her for years, individually and in those group sessions. Downright life-changing, amazing stuff. Not that her version is the only way. It isn't. You will find your own version of this. But setting the field basically makes way for success. And if you're coming from that, I'm asking for success for everyone involved. If you're coming from that perspective, you're you will get your success. Trust, trust, trust. But set the field. It's sort of like guaranteeing that success. All right. That's primarily what I wanted to impart today, how to set the field. The other friend who asked about the planets and the atmosphere, I'm debating whether or not I'm going to get into that. I think that's sort of rehashing what I was talking about. And I did leave an audio clip in response to that, which I could post rather than rehashing it here. That way it keeps this video shorter too. So I think I will do that. Literally no rant today. I have to be careful. My energy is still low. I did not feel great last night. And I'm like, all right, I'm still a little vulnerable to overextending my energy right now. So I'm not going to do that. This will be the non-rant for today. I hope that helped. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm sort of liking the idea of saying something every day. I don't know why. This was just not, I had absolutely zero interest to do this shit before the 7th. And suddenly now I have this interest. It's kind of fun. I enjoy doing it because I've been doing this all my life anyway. And now it's gotten to the point where a lot of people are asking and I can't talk to everybody. And so this is the way I can still do what I love to do, but and still reach everybody without wiping myself out and having to pick myself off the floor. Okay. Yep, that's it. Have a wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you're at. And we'll see you tomorrow.